I kind of spilled brake fluid in the engine bay, but we're gonna pretend I didn't. Oh my god. I am feeling so defeated right now. Oh my god. So today I'm gonna make one of the biggest improvements to my driving experience with my Miata. When I bought my car 6 months ago, I also had already started growing out my hair, but I kind of forgot the fact that I decided to start growing my hair really long when I bought a convertible, and it's been an absolute pain to drive that car with longer hair. So I'm gonna fix that now. Sweet, so now moving on. So I've been having this fun issue with my car where I kind of grind a few gears, notably I think third gear, and reverse is also really hard to get into. So I did some research and I found that sometimes it can be maybe the master or slave cylinder of my clutch system going bad. And I did some more research and found that it's actually very common, especially for the slave to go out. So my first thought was I just need to bleed the clutch because that fluid is pretty contaminated. But if I'm gonna bleed the clutch, I might as well put a new master cylinder, right? But if I'm gonna put a new master cylinder, I figured I might as well put the new slave cylinder since apparently they seem to go out pretty often. But if I'm gonna do that, I might as well replace the rubber hose with the brand new braided steel one. So that's how I ended up buying the entire kit. So today, I'm going to replace my entire clutch hydraulic system for the first time. And of course, how hard could that be? Alright, loosening it up. So first I drained all the clutch fluid so that I wouldn't spill any in the future. I'm gonna go pump the clutch pedal, see what that does. Do you see how like that there's a small stream, but you see how it kind of looks like engine oil? It's so brown. That's clutch fluid or brake fluid. It should be basically clear. And with this nasty clutch fluid drained, I had now officially changed every single fluid in the car since I bought it. So now there's two bolts, you can kind of see it back there. One on either side. I'm going to work on getting those out. And then it'll finally be out and replaced with this boy. There we go. Uh-oh. I broke the clip. I got it! There we go. So with that clutch fluid drained, I was able to pull out the master cylinder, which is what was holding that fluid. Aha! Ta-da! So here's the old one, here's the new one. That was kind of annoying. So basically, what happened is I found it pretty difficult to kind of like get in here and remove these two nuts that were on here. And then on top of that, I broke this clip. This plastic clip has a part on the back that fell off in there, so that's perfect. But on the bright side, I didn't spill any fluid, any of this brake fluid, which is kind of ruin the paint, which is of course beautiful. So it was a pretty good idea to first bleed the whole system before getting started. So with the master cylinder pulled out, I got started on trying to figure out how to pull out the actual hose that connects that to the slave cylinder. Okay, do we need to take anything? And that took surprisingly more time than I thought, so that's all I was able to get done until the next day. Which is when I got greeted by this surprise. Which was definitely not the most pleasant way to begin work on my car that day. My landlord caught a rat in that garage. So, that was great. So with both the clutch master cylinder and the hose pulled out, the last thing left was to pull out the slave cylinder. Which again is only held in by 2 bolts, but I was surprised at how much effort it was taking to just crack the first one open. It was pretty much like glued in there. I tried a couple of different approaches. I tried like a hand wrench, I tried some extensions to get a better angle, I tried my little impact driver. Nothing was working. And then I had the idea to just stick every extension I had together, which allows me to use a much longer breaker bar to get more leverage. Fuck. And then finally, after maybe an hour or two of being stuck in that first bolt, it came out. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, so I'm almost there. I got the fluid drained, I got the clutch master cylinder pulled out, and the hose, and I just have literally one bolt left on this slave cylinder, right? Almost there. Or so I thought. Nope. That bolt was in such an awkward location because the subframe blocks it, so you can't just use a wrench. And it was a little awkward to get under there too. So because the subframe makes it really hard to get a wrench in there, I was checking maybe if I'm supposed to get this from the top. But no, the best way is definitely from underneath, so I gave it another shot. That was not working out at all. So finally I had the bright idea to just sit down and actually watch a couple of tutorials. And the main technique I saw was not to use a socket wrench because that subframe is in the way, but instead use a hand wrench and get it from underneath. So I stuck my flared wrench on it and gave it a shot. And I was feeling pretty confident because this definitely gave me much better leverage. But that bolt was on so tight. Even with this extra leverage, it was not coming free. Ooh. And after all that effort, I was pretty stumped. I had no luck getting that free, and I'd even tried the technique of locking two hand wrenches together to get more leverage.
Fuck.
But no luck at all.
I think I started stripping it. Okay, I'm feeling so defeated by this bolt right now, which is basically every one of my videos at this point. So I watched a couple of videos online. The way that I saw that a couple of people were doing it was by using, I think it's called a closed end wrench or a box end wrench. Which I don't have. The closest thing I have is the 12 millimeter like flared wrench, but I think it keeps stretching open a little and slipping off. So I just bought a whole set of metric wrenches so that I can use the proper 12 millimeter and give that a shot from the bottom. But I am feeling so defeated right now. I know there's always something that you get stuck on, but I feel dumb because every Reddit post I've seen about this is like, oh, it's like one of the easier things you can do. It'll just take you an hour. I've been working on this one bolt on the bottom for like 2 hours now. So that sucked, but I was feeling pretty confident now that I actually had a wrench that should hold it much better. I think I rounded off the bolt a little earlier. This is not sliding on. I think the bolt is a little too mangled. And just when I had the right tool for the job, it seemed like all my efforts before had actually possibly messed it up and made it harder to use the right tool. So this was really starting to get annoying, but I was determined to get this off. But after working on that slave cylinder for so long, I was kind of starting to lose motivation. So I need to make at least some progress for all this effort. So I went ahead and installed a stainless braided line that'll be connecting the clutch master and slave. But unfortunately, that's all I was able to accomplish that evening. So on to the next day. So it's been a few days since I last worked on the car, and I just realized I'm gonna be moving soon, like this week. And this car does not drive because I ripped out the clutch hydraulic, so it doesn't shift gears. So I gotta get this car in a running state fast. So in the meantime, so So what I'm gonna do is I bought a six-pointed closed-end wrench to try and get that bolt open, and I'm gonna give that a shot. If that doesn't work, I'm just gonna leave the old slave on right now because it's not broken, put the rest of the new system on just so I can get it running, and then figure this out later.
Okay, so now I'm as confident as I can be. I know that I have the right tool for the job, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I am kind of expecting that this is still not gonna work out, right?
Did that do it?
And to my surprise,
Oh my god.
it did.
I put it and I hammered it.
Really quickly, too. So I was just missing the right tool the whole time.
God.
So all the old parts were finally out and I already had the new hose in. So next up was put the new slave cylinder in.
Huh. This is funny. I just discovered that the old slave cylinder here was installed incorrectly. If you look at that metal piece, it looks like that, right? It should have been installed the other way into there. But this is backwards. Huh? That's so funny. I wonder if that's why I was grinding gears.
So at this point, I'm feeling really good. I finally got everything off, so I know there's not gonna be any sort of like old rusted bolts in my way. So I just need to put everything back in. It's just a few bolts. So I got the new slave cylinder in, I got the new master cylinder in, and I connected up the hose. So the system is pretty much all set. It just needs fluid. And that was a little scary because brake fluid, which is what you also use in the clutch, is a paint stripper as well. So I was really scared about dropping a little in the car. And I was getting a few drops here and there, so I was trying to wipe it off as fast as I could. But so far, all good. So I just continued slowly and carefully filling up that master cylinder. And also checking for leaks to make sure that hose is fully secure as well. But then I got a little too careless pouring in some of that fluid.
Oh, fuck.
And I spilled it all over the engine bay.
Fuck.
Like, a lot of it just overflowed completely into that engine bay. So I did what any reasonable person would do, and I panicked. And the only idea I had was to just grab as many water bottles as I could to at least just wash it out before it really stays and strips more paint. So it all seemed good. So this time I carefully, very carefully finished filling up that master cylinder.
I kind of spilled brake fluid in the engine bay, but we're gonna pretend I didn't. On the bright side, I think the clutch hydraulic system is in. I have full brake pressure and I don't see any leaks, so feeling pretty good.
And with that, I was finally done. A job that Reddit tells me it would be done in like maybe 2 hours took me multiple days. And then just to make sure that all that brake fluid was washed out, I poured a little bit of water just to be safe. But I was finally done. And at this point, I'd forgotten that the original point of this was to fix the grinding gear issue, which it kind of really didn't. But it's not a big deal. Now I know that at least there's new parts in that system, it won't fail for a while, and the car was drivable for me to move in 2 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.